let me show you a demo from ChatGPT to the OpenAI API. Here I am still in ChatGPT, but don't worry, code is on the way. Let me just ask this question. What is a large language model? And here's the answer, which you're already pretty familiar with. And the point is that if you're writing your own application, you can't actually access the interface like this. Well, maybe you could with some special tools, but not really. When you're connecting your application to the OpenAI API, you do it like this with code. And at the moment, don't worry about the specifics of these instructions. How to connect and use the API is the next module. For now, I just want to show you ChatGPT and the OpenAI API side by side. And in this specific case, I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook. Let me show you. I'll start by importing a couple of libraries and reading a key being what you use to authenticate with the API. And this is the prompt that I'm going to send. What is a large language model? The same one that I showed you in ChatGPT. I will then define the endpoint that I'm going to connect to, which is api.openai.com/v1/chat/completions. Then I'm going to set a few parameters and make the call. At this point, when the call completes, which is now, result is going to have the response from the API, which I print out. And it's not exactly the same one that ChatGPT returned. There are some small differences, but it's more or less the same thing. And if this is the first time that you see how to call the OpenAI API, I just want to thank you for the opportunity of letting me show you how it's done. Again, the details are in the next module. For now, let's just compare them. Now, let me show you something different. Do you remember a few minutes ago where I asked ChatGPT to write a story about a traveling computer programmer? Yes, Alex. And it wrote this story. Later on, I just continued the conversation and said translate the story into Spanish. And here it is. Alex's story, but in Spanish. What do you think is going to happen if I do this in the OpenAI API? Let's give it a shot. And in this case, I created a function that simply receives a prompt to make the call. Let me just execute all this. And here's the prompt. Write a story of a traveling computer programmer in 2 paragraphs. I did this so that it's a shorter response. When I make the call, I get back the story about Alex. Now I make the next call, which is translate the story into Spanish. But check out the response. This is not what I was expecting. It's actually talking about Juanito. Well, there are a few things that you need to know about the OpenAI API, including the fact that you can call the API directly or you can use a library. Also, there are a few more things that you need to take into account, like the roles and the model, among a few other things. All this is what I have ready for you in the next module.